Hello, welcome to my world, country, and city debt presentation. Debt started in the United States in July 4th, 1776. It started out with around 30% debt. In 1790, we already owed $11.7 million to foreigners and around $42 million to domestic creditors. Jefferson was focused on shrinking the debt as fast as possible and got it below 10%. This was soon undone by borrowing heavily to finance the Civil War in 1812. The Civil War made the debt increase to $65 million in 1860 to $2.76 billion. President Bush was elected and increased taxes, resulting in debt to drop to 33%. When President George W. Bush was elected, that was a big mistake, there was a recession and tax cuts, and this caused national debt to rise from 34.7% in 2000 to 40.5% in 2008. Through consumerism and large buildup with debt, though this was estimated at 11.4 trillion in the U.S. national debt in 2011, and now around 19.2 trillion in 2016. Why does America have so much debt? Well, the answer to that is we just simply spend way too much. Each year, we spend around $940 billion on healthcare programs, $718 million on defense budgets, and $882 billion on social security programs. The United States is ranked 10th in the highest level of government debt. The debt percentage is 104.5%. 100% debt means that all the money we have is not ours, meaning we have no money. The 4.5% is how much we owe to other countries. Why is Medicaid expansion bad? Well, Medicaid does not improve the health outcomes of the patients. It actually provides health coverage for people, but it does not guarantee the quality of the doctors. Patients often have worse outcomes after major surgeries. Children have higher mortality rates for these surgeries. The Medicaid project will double in the next 10 years. The government pays for 90% of able-bodied adults. Medicaid could force states to reduce funding for education, increase state tuition, or cut transportation funding. It can also make taxes increase. More people will also pile into Medicaid if we keep expanding it. How did all this debt accumulate? The Social Security system is taking out more than it is putting in. The costs of Medicaid and Medicare have exceeded our budget, and war has been a huge burden on our national debt, increasing the costs further. The Social Security system is to keep as many people out of the poverty line as much as possible. But with the increasing number of retirees and the increasing amount of national debt rises, there is almost no way to keep the nation out of debt. About 49% of households need government assistance. The healthcare program alone takes the biggest chunk of the budget that we don't have. That means almost half of Americans need government assistance. That is a very big problem that we have. But if we don't reduce the number of debt that we have right now, we may not have a chance to slow down.
I can't pay my taxes. Like a good neighbor, the government is there. Oh!
The most contributor for income for the U.S. is taxes. On a yearly average, the United States will collect around $4.2 trillion, not billion, trillion dollars of tax money. Even with this amount of tax payment, it is still not enough to dig us out of the debt we have accumulated. Another factor is the United States is a giant consumer. We trade billions of dollars to China each year for goods. By trading with other countries, our money is going out and not in. If our money keeps going out, we would need to issue a bond from other countries, thus steepening our debt. Also, when we issue a bond with another country, there will always be interest, meaning that we will have more debt. If debt is so high and interest rates keep rising, businesses in the US will be viewed as a risky investment. This will make it difficult for any foreign investors to invest in a company, making it harder for the United States to make money. How debt can affect the average person in the United States. Is debt really a bad thing?
No, national debt is not a bad thing. It just means that the country is growing and making business. But if the levels get too severe, it'll take a large toll on the economy. John, now the big question is, how good is Iowa for debt?
Iowa is actually one of the top states that is stable in debt. So far in 2016, we are $19.8 billion in debt. But the good news is we have $28.1 billion in revenue. This means we can pay off our debt. We still have an abundant amount of money. Iowa is ranked 11th out of 50 states that have a surplus in money. Since Iowa is the largest producer of corn in the United States, we mainly profit off of that. As for debt per person, it is estimated around $6,360, which is not that much compared to like California or Illinois, which is around $11,000 of debt per person.
John, how can we try and fix this?
Well, we can stop issuing bonds with other countries because there will be an interest when we pay it back. All we are doing is losing money. We can also lower interest rates so that individuals and companies can borrow loans and pay them back so the U.S. can get money off the interest. We can also cut spendings. By doing this, they don't have to raise taxes, and also it will benefit taxpayers because with the money we saved, we can make more jobs so people can pay their taxes. Raising taxes are another argument, but it can also benefit the government a lot because, as we learned before, taxes is the number one income for the government. Finally, business and trade. By doing business with other companies sharing our products or countries, money will flow into our income. This can reduce our debt as well as can profit off the other countries. So the Catholic Church's stance on world, city, and country debt. Religious teachings on debt reaches way back in the Old Testament, way back, and ancient traditions of Jubilee. We learned that Jubilee was a time to let the land rest and allow whatever it naturally produced to be shared with all, landowners and slaves alike. It was a time to set slaves free and return its original owner. Jubilee is also a time to cancel debts. At the end of every 7-year period, you shall have a relaxation of debts. Deuteronomy 15:1-2. We are called to apply the traditions of Jubilee to continue the chemist's ministry to the poor and oppressed in our own day and time. We must forgive those who have become overwhelmed by unpayable debt. You must give them a chance to start over. Catholic social teaching principles that relate to debt are life and dignity of the human person. Life and dignity of the human person says about debt, we should treat everybody equally. Debt violates this principle because it contributes to the suffering amongst the world's poor. Debt is not only a national problem, but as well as a personal problem. Many people suffer from debt, and this makes it so that not everyone can have an equal and fair life. Solidarity also plays a role in debt because we are all one family. The principles call us to pursue justice throughout the world, no matter how distant the issue may seem to be. This principle tells us to help each other and to help relieve the crisis and consequences for the world's most poor people.